All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all infinite praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Hakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops across the foremost of the earth that pushing and teaching this truth and our sincerity and your righteousness. And salutations to the hopeful elect. Coming back to you through the spirit of fire, Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shai, with no lesson and exhortation, Lord's words quick and edifying, straight to the point. You see the title, so I ain't gonna make this too long. If it goes on, longer than what I want it to be. But it is what it is. But I'm just go ahead and play this quick clip that I had got from this video that I was watching last night. For it's from the channel Redacted, right? Redacted or Red Acted, however you say it, or whatever. How you spell it is REDACTED. And it's coming from their video, well, live. What they did with the title is "We Must Prepare for War with Russia." NATO and Europe preparing for all out war. You know, and you know what I'm saying. If you know the scriptures, if you take heed to the scriptures, you know, uh, the scriptures speak of rumors of war, right? And I'll go ahead and start with that before I get the scriptures. Come on now, that's slow. All right, rumors of wars. Rumors of war. Well, nation, nation against nation. All right, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. The book of Matthew, chapter 24. And I'm gonna start at verse. Oh yeah, you in the uh Matthew chapter 24. Oh, there we go. Matthew chapter 24. And I might as well start at verse 1. All right. Matthew 24 and verse 1. And it reads, And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to shew him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he had Slaki, and as he said upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of thy Slaki, of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And here's the point. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay? So all these are the you know, the time of war that we in. It's all just the beginning of the dangers to come. Yeah, how about you? Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, how about you? I'm sharp right here. All right. Excuse me for that. But yeah, man, let me go ahead and play this clip for you. And Lowe's where you can hear it, and yeah, we'll get off from that.
Well, Americans and Europeans, you are being dragged into war, whether you want to or not. It is the perfect storm caused by bloodthirsty politicians. First off, I'm going to explain how these things are coming at us at all angles. First, the House of Representatives passed a massive military budget worth a whopping $901 billion. That is mind boggling. Now, when we started covering this on Redacted in about 2021, we were freaking out that it was 700 billion. It's 200 billion more now. This not only slaps the American public with more debt, it prevents it. Literally, Congress just this week added to the legislation that it would prevent the Trump administration from withdrawing troops in Europe and South Korea. Now, think about that for a second. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war, although most American presidents skirt around those requirements.
And also remember that before that all this really transpired, you know, up until this point where we at now, remember that the government, with Trump and Pete Hegseth, all the officials, the top officials, the Congress, they changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. They changed it from the Department of Defense, meaning they were only down for defense, like they're not going for the attack. They're waiting for those that may come at them so they can defend themselves. No, they say fuck that and change it to Department of War. And now look what's going on with Venezuela, right? Y'all are about to see y'all about to see some shit. Y'all about to see some shit in these incoming days, man. Y'all finna see some shit. Cause these are times we've been speaking to you about, right? You know, where it's gonna be chaos and a lot of people are gonna fucking flip their shit when all this thing, when this whole thing transpires. Cause a lot of people are gonna be against this shit. Why? Cause a lot of people not gonna be, first of all, we know the draft will be coming. Well, matter of fact, before you even get on to that, let me just let this finish.
But not to wage it, Congress is using their power to prevent withdrawal from war. Is that not crazy?
Play that back a little bit.
And South Korea. Now, think about that for a second. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war, although most American presidents skirt around those requirements. But not to wage it, Congress is using their power to prevent withdrawal from war. Is that not crazy, right? This is happening at the same time now. Mark Rutte must have known this because the head of NATO says, all right, great. Glad the U.S. troops can stay here. They're in it with us because we're planning for war. Watch.
Conflict is at our door. Russia has brought
This one of the leaders for NATO speaking right here. So yeah, definitely listen onto this. Listen.
conflict is at our door. Russia has brought war back to Europe. And we must be prepared for the scale of war our grandparents and great-grandparents endured.
You hear it. Matter of fact, I played the last part. Just the last part. Listen.
And we must be prepared for the scale of war our grandparents and great-grandparents endured.
They said, well, he said that everybody in Europe must prepare for the scale of war. You know, skill or scale, whatever he has said. You know, he telling everybody to prepare for war, to prepare for the war that their grandparents and their parents, you know, and their great grandparents endured. Right? You finna see the spirit of devils run rapid throughout this bitch. All throughout the world, you finna see just straight chaos. 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 Okay, everybody go be in the uproar. Everybody go shit about damn near majority of well, speaking of, you know what I'm saying, Europe and most definitely fucking America. It's finna be chaos amongst this bitch. Cause now people are really finna go mad. Cause through their mind, they're just gonna think like, am I gonna survive? You know? Cause you know the inflation finna go the fuck up. This is war. So you already know inflation, gas prices, all that shit finna go the fuck up. These are the times we've been telling you, and people finna fucking lose their shit because of this stuff, man. You know? There's another video that a brother did. Let's see, where it was. I had shared it. Yeah, let me do it because I shared it already. God, I'm gonna go to the part that is necessary. I'm gonna start from here. I think this was the part I want.
Shai and Ambassador Cinnamon the Heathen, arise ye, and let us rise against her in battle. All right, so all these nations again are preparing war.
Yeah, here you go.
Okay, with America.
All right, listen.
And let us rise up.
Yeah, listen up. Fair use as well. You know, just gets you know, I ain't said it earlier. Fair use. I'm not making no money off this stuff, man. You know, just entertainment, educational purposes only, right?
Against her in battle. All right, so all these nations again are preparing war. Okay, with America. All right, let's see what we get out of the summary here. You know, let's see what we get. Bear with me.
All nations are preparing for war with America, man. That's let's go get it. The book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. This is just the start of it, you know?
Okay. It's getting hot and heavy, man. Okay, so this is summary of geopolitical tensions and potential conflicts. It says the author asserts that while 2025 has been a year of war, Ukraine, Iran, and Gaza, 2026 could be far worse. Warning that this could potentially end up fighting Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, Russia, and China all at once.
America not finna win that war. They not finna win that war. 100%. 100%, man. You know, they not finna win that war. As a matter of fact, let me go get this other scripture that I wanted to get earlier before I really had started. What is our, you know, this really goes along with Matthew chapter 24 and what I read. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and that verse 1. And it reads, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, Salakia. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, and a time to mourn, and a time to dance, and a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, and a time to keep and a time to cast away, and a time to bring and a time to sue, and a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, and a time to love, and a time to hate, in time of war, in a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that which he laboreth? All these things is a time for it, right? A time for love, hate, peace, kill, to heal. It's a time for everything. A time for war as well. It's time for war. We're in a time of war. You know, hey, you just can't. It don't get any better than this, man. It don't get any better than this. All right. Let me go back a little bit. I probably went back a little too far.
Summary of geopolitical tensions and potential conflicts. Says the author asserts that while 2025 has been a year of war, Ukraine, Iran, and Gaza, 2026 could be far worse. Warning that the U.S. could potentially end up finding Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, Russia, and China all at once.
And despite however long we may be here, Lord's will don't be too long. You know, of course, be ready to get the fuck up out of here, but, you know, the prophecies got to be fulfilled. You know, got to be patient. You know, but say that we here for like the next two or maybe 3 years, maybe max. Right? Was, you know, what is this one at 2029? Yeah. Quote unquote, but I don't believe that we could be here for like the next 2 or 3 years. I'm gonna be honest, I can't see that. I can't see that at all. You know, and with America and their the lifespan of their empire is coming to 250 years, and you know, the lifespan of an empire is to 250 years. And to fact check that, let's do it. Lifespan of an empire. 250 years. Just like that. The lifespan. Let me read what AI overview gave me real quick. I type in lifespan, a lifespan of an empire, and this is what it gives me. This is what it gives me. Salaki. Empires vary Salaki. Empires vary wildly in length from short-lived conquests to millennia, spanning civilizations like ancient Egypt, and many historical studies point to an average lifespan of around 250 years. Let me show you the picture of which the brother got up, you know, for this video. Okay. Right? Actually, yeah. Yep, this one I want. Let me show you, brother. Flip the camera for you. You see? Now, when you look at this message, well, it basically is a message. This is giving a message. Oh, this is giving a message, right? But when you look at this picture and you see this big ass birthday cake in the middle, it has the numbers 250. If you can see it, right? You should be able to see it. But it says 250 on it, man. 250 years America is celebrating, right? You can't make none of this stuff up, man. You can't make none of this stuff up. A spiritual mind, you gotta have a spiritual mind for this thing, man. You can't just look at it naked, you know? Let's go back to the where we left off. What, 1046. Right.
Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, Russia, and China all at once. All right? It goes into Venezuela regime change. Okay, we're not going to read all that.
You know, they want to put a puppet, you know what I'm saying, the government Trump tried to get Maduro out of the seat, trying to tell him, you know what I'm saying, you got to leave, you know, right? And matter of fact, what I just had posted yesterday on the on my little social media thing, I posted let me go to it. Right, and it got a picture. It got a picture of Maduro, angry as fuck. Picture of Maduro, angry as fuck. See, so like, looking at these retarded motherfuckers outside. But yeah, you see, and it says, "Furious Maduro vows to break America's teeth after the U.S. seizes Venezuelan ship as Trump shrugs. I assume we keep the oil." You see the pride of this devil. You know, let's get a quick scripture, man. You know, because the scripture's talking about the hammer of the whole earth. You know, saying getting caught in the snare. The Lord caught this devil in the snare. Snare. Yeah, this shit. Con. Oh goodness! All these motherfuckers coming up in the yard and shit. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 23. Let me hurry this up, cause you got people coming up in the damn yard and shit. I ain't got time for these distractions. Jeremiah 50 and 23, and it reads, "How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken?" The hammer represents America, you know, because he's that bully of the block, the big old bully of the block, the bully of the block. How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? These nations gonna hate the whore bad, man. Yeah, like I said, man, this shit here, boy. I'm tired of the fucking distractions, man. It's too fucking loud. Shut the fuck out near me. Verse 24. Yeah, back to 23. The second part. How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Cause Babylon will be laid waste by these nations, man. You know, these nations, they're gonna start hating the whore. So like I read in Revelation, they're gonna start hating her because of her decisions. You know, saying how her leader is leading them. You know, is leading their empire. And America is definitely an empire, man. It definitely is. Verse 24. I have laid a snare for thee. This Lord speaking, this man. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord, right? the Lord gonna take down these devils, man. You know, the Lord gonna put these devils down. The Lord caught these devils in their ways. You know, okay, here it is. Trump that made them push the orders to seize that oil tanker. You know, Trump made an order to PKSF or whoever made the orders up there. You know, got to learn the whole system of that fully. But they done sent out orders saying that to take, and they've been going after the oil anyway, man. That's what they wanted the whole time. America running out of resources, and they, you know what I'm saying, they going around doing what they been known to do, to rob, steal, and to take. You know, and to deceive ultimately. Still, let me go back to the clip. All right, read this off a little bit more, and I may just end on that. I think I done brought out all that I wanted. Yeah, whatever. I'll play a little bit more. Whatever else, you know, come to the spirit, I'll bring it up.
Internal backlash in Venezuela action. Let's read this. It says China would be absolutely furious because it imports a tremendous amount of oil from Venezuela. And the country has borrowed tens of billions of dollars from China. Russia has very close ties. The USS Stockdale intercepted a sanctioned Russian tanker Seahorse near the Venezuelan coastline, forcing the vessel to conduct a U-turn which demonstrated the vulnerability of Moscow's shadow fleet, deteriorating relations, overthrowing Maduro will cause U.S. relations with both Russia and China to seriously deteriorate, and that's what's going to happen. This is what the Lord wants.
Yeah, exactly what he wants.
3 potential strikes on Mexico and Colombia. All right. Escalating world conflicts. China, Japan, global opinion. We'll read that and we'll get to the scriptures. It says, the author warns that going to war with Mexico and Colombia will make the U.S., quote, the bad guys globally. Citing recent protests.
Oh, yeah, that just remind me about the draft. Let me go to the part where he plays about the draft. Yeah.
Let's get into that, too. I saw this earlier.
I'll get to the part where you're going to the draft.
The draft is coming back in style.
All right.
U.S. military draft in 2025, women included. All right. And we know that we're approaching the end of 2025, but still, with all these things going on, right, that draft is coming.
It definitely is, man.
Well, guys and gals, looks like you better lace up your boots and get your war faces on because they are bringing back the draft.
One age-old issue is re-emerging, whether the U.S. should have a military draft. The military draft coming back, according to one expert.
With Ukraine and Russia, Israel being attacked by Hamas back on October 7th, and of course China.
It's becoming a national security issue, the military not reaching recruitment goals to refill the ranks.
Trump orbiters are musing about the possibility of mandatory military service should the former president and Republican presidential nominee get elected for another term.
If you have been active on social media or you've been paying attention even a little bit to the news, you probably will have noticed that a lot of talk has been circled around the draft coming back in 2025. And that's mainly because it's a very clickbaity topic, all right? I mean, you obviously clicked on this video, whether you're a loyal subscriber or not. You saw the title and you thought it was going to be interesting enough to click on it and see what it's all about. But I'm here to dispel those rumors for you so that you have the down and dirty truth of what's really going on. House passes bill to automatically register young men for the draft.
And let's remember that I think a year ago, definitely a year ago, or last year, they made it known that women will be a part of the draft as well. I forgot when they had pushed this news out, when tension was starting to grow hot over there with Russia and, you know what I'm saying, the Middle East and all that. They made it known that women will be a part of the draft as well, you know, and it's definitely, well, I would say they have made it voluntary. No, in a few states, this is what they did. I remember when they did this shit. They made it to where, of course, the men wouldn't be in the army, right? 18 to 26. They even boosted up the fucking years. I think to 40 something. I think to 40. I don't know. But for the women, and they did it in the states, and of course, some states they probably have most. I think they had most of the states mandatory for a draft for the men, but for the women, they had specific states on which state would have a mandatory draft for the women, or would have a voluntary, or they would come into the military voluntarily, right? But that's still in the mind of these devils now, you know, because the way how things is, and you know that this war is going to be one of the worst wars that they had, you know what I'm saying, prior to the other two. This war is going to be, it's going to be even worse than World War II. Way worse. This war is not even going to top the other two wars and any other wars that happened in past time. What makes this war so special? Because the Lord's going to come back during this war. Yahweh Shai is going to come back during this war. He's going to conquer all these nations, man. He's going to conquer them. That's why we so hyped, because we waiting for the Lord to come back to conquer these nations. He's going to have to. That's the only way for us to go back home. We can't do nothing else other than wait on him. So that's why we are excited. That's why we are hyped. We rejoice. Right? These are times we're waiting for, man. But let's get the scriptures upon the for the draft, and I'm going to end it. All right? That's in right here. God, what are y'all about Shem Shai? The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, and verse, let's see. Get straight to the point. 2nd 16 to verse 33, and it reads, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. A lot of men finna die in these times, man. A lot of men. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 3. And this is the prophecy that's leading up to Isaiah 4:1. This leading up for I'll just go ahead and read it. So like I go ahead and read it. Isaiah 3 and 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in the war. Let me read it over. Isaiah 3 and 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Why? Because they have no bridegrooms, you know, just like I read in 2nd Esdras. Their husbands and all of them are going to die in that fucking war, man. But you Jays, y'all don't take none of this stuff serious. Don't you understand that you could possibly go in the war? You could possibly get drafted, sent out there to die. Because it's definitely not promised for you to come back. It's not promised whatsoever. The men that's going to get sent out there in that war, they're going to die. You know, they're going to die. This is the war that's going to end all wars. And who's going to be the one on top? Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai. That's who's going to be on top. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is gonna be on top, man. You know? And guess what this leading up to, right? Right after reading Isaiah 3 and 25. Who was it? 20, yeah, 25 and 26. You jump over to Isaiah 4 and 1, that this is literally the next chapter over. Right? Isaiah 4 and 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold. As a matter of fact, let me read it in its entirety. Let me go back to Isaiah 3 and 25, and I'm going to read it all the way to Isaiah 4 and 1. Isaiah 3 and 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and her gates shall lament and mourn. If you don't know what lament, the word lament means, it means to mourn, basically, right? And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own, so like we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So that this war is finna have a lot of women husbandless. You know? Because why? Because the husband's going to get sent out there to be destroyed. You know? Because he's not going to come back. When this war go on, America going to be falling still. You know? It's going to be a lot of chaos, man. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of fucking chaos. It's finna get scary out here, man. Real scary. You know? That's where you got to stay prayed up as we continue to watch. Right? Let's go and get it what the scriptures say. Right? The book of, let's see. I'll lay this one. The book of Luke, chapter 21. Let's see. I get straight to the point on this. The book of Luke, chapter 21, and verse. I started at verse 34. And it reads, take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life. I got to look at that word. Surfeit. Let me read it over. Luke 21 and 34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. You know, we got to experience these things, you know what I'm saying, no matter what. So we got to continue to stay prayed up. We got to continue to stay in the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Continue to pray to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua that he may protect us and guide us through these times, man. You know? Because we ain't finna just go through this with our own willpower. No, we need Yahushua. We need Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Right? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it by giving all praise and honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Chakodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders and other bishops across the forms of the earth that push and teaching this truth, man. And salutations to the whole full elect. All right, shalom, shalom, shalom.